Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Another incredible opportunity to just spend time with what has truly become one of the heartbeats of our church at Cottonwood Creek. And missions are always at the forefront of everything that we do, regardless of where it is, whether it's international, national, local, whatever state. But one of the things that we tapped into a couple of years ago is a house building ministry. And one of the things we love about this ministry at Cottonwood Creek is that when it comes to building houses, men engage. This is one of those mission efforts and mission opportunities that men can step up to the plate, literally build a house in a day that will be then transported to someone who is in incredible need, that is selected and chosen. And so I just want to talk to you. I've got two guys with me today. I've got John and Keith. They lead out in this ministry. They help us organize, prepare, and then ultimately when the day happens that we build a house in a day, they're the ones that get men involved, tell them exactly what to do. Men bring their sons and daughters out to make it happen. And then beyond that, what the beautiful thing is, now we're able to export this house building ministry to other churches. And so John and Keith, welcome, guys. How are y'all doing?
Awesome.
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Good. All right. Hey, first of all, tell us, this isn't your the job that pays the bills. This is your heartbeat and a mission. So first of all, Keith, tell us what you do for a real living.
I've actually been at Texas Instruments for 27 years, electrical engineer, and so it's been a delight to be able to do that and hopefully for a few more years, but it's been awesome.
Love it. John, what do you do for a living?
I'm a data scientist for AT&T, and I've been here for 25 years.
All right. I love it. So tell us how you guys got involved in the missions ministry at Cottonwood Creek.
I think when my wife and I joined in 2016, and there's so many opportunities to serve in missions, it was almost impossible to say no, actually, because of the diversity. And the first time we had done a Buckner trip was actually in 2017 when we went to Rio Grande Valley. So I think part of it is just the readiness and the community at Cottonwood to serve. And then, of course, my wife, her heart is to serve as well. So we serve in a diverse set of ministries. And for me, the Buckner one is the most exciting.
And to
John,
add
what
to
was
that,
your first? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
John, what was your first entry into missions?
Well, I gotta say, I mean, I've been friends with Keith for nearly a decade, right, Keith? And in our life group, the Living Faith Life Group, we started this ministry of we participate in the Live Love Allen ministry. Where the city will actually issue a violation to a homeowner for an unsafe situation, and for whatever reason that homeowner is unable from a financial perspective or maybe just an ability perspective, they can't make those adjustments to their house. So our life group will rally behind that homeowner, participate and partner with the city, and get out there and help that violation go away. And that's kind of where it started, and where Keith and I started to see that we were pretty well knit and wired in the same capacity.
Love it. And, as you go back just a couple of years ago, we've only been at this home building ministry for people in the Rio Grande, pretty much for a couple of years, right? So when we started talking about, obviously, your backgrounds and just your passion, your heartbeat, and then being men, you just all of a sudden took to the home building ministry, that you saw an opportunity that we were doing something new. We were trying. I mean, we didn't even know what the first one was going to work, right? But you guys went all in on building homes for people down in the Rio Grande. So tell us what specifically drew you to that ministry, the home building ministry.
Well, I think both John and I have a natural tendency towards building with wood, and then also more on my side, tools. And when Justin reached out to us to say, hey, would you be interested in building a home in the parking lot? We both said, we don't know how to do that, but yes, we'll do that. We'd love to figure that out. I think both John and I like to look at hard problems and solve them. And a neat story about that is you don't know what kind of giftedness God gives you and when you'll use it. But like 25 years ago, when John was in school, he took drafting. So he had an opportunity to really update all the drawings. So talk about a skill sitting there waiting to be utilized. And so when Just asked us, we said, we're all in. And that first year, 2021, was the first year we did it. There was the first one being remote built. Since then, there's been over 30 home builds done in that time frame with new drawings and stuff that the team has done. So it's been exciting.
I think the exact words when Justin asked if we would do it, we're like, duh, yeah. I mean, never done anything like this, but man, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. It's beautiful that, man, you just talk about, and guys that tap into this podcast, and maybe ladies that want to send it to their husbands. I love some of the words that you just said is, we like building things. We like doing things with wood. But then, hey, do you want to build a house in the parking lot? How's that going to happen? We don't know that it's going to happen. But the answer is, yeah, duh. And we're in. Okay, let's give it a go. But then something I think, Keith, you said about John is, all the way back years ago in college, he took drafting, correct? And that had been just a latent talent that was sitting there waiting to be utilized. And all of a sudden, drawings get updated, everything gets better, and just the wheels start moving. And so as we think about the number of houses we've already built, and now this ministry is getting expanded to other churches. You guys want to talk about the excitement of seeing other churches get on board with the home building mission in the Rio Grande?
Absolutely. So actually, I wrote down some of the churches that John and I have been able to mentor in this process. So with the first build that we had done with Cottonwood, that was just Cottonwood prototyping the drawings. So it was like live in real time, sink or swim type of project. But since then, we were able to support University Baptist Church, Valley Ranch Baptist Church, Stonebriar, First McKinney, Austin Baptist, Rock Point, Garland, Grand Prairie, Waxahachie, and Gateway Dallas. So those are all the churches that have essentially embraced, let's do a home build in the parking lot and figure it out. And so the neat part about that is every time you go to them, my first question is, who's built a home in a parking lot? Because it allows it to level set, because there'll be a mix of people that have lots of construction experience or none. And so it's an opportunity for them to learn, okay, wait a minute, this is a little different. And the second question I bring up is that, well, it's a question and a kind of a statement is, they'll ask, why do you do this? Why not just build it in Rio Grande? This is a unique opportunity to have anywhere from 50 to 100 people volunteer for an outreach like this in a mission field where it's in your parking lot. And then they get to see the kind of the ripple effect as it impacts a family in Rio Grande. Because not everyone can go down to Rio Grande to do the home build. So I can't think of a better way for Cottonwood and to be able to serve in a ministry to reach many other people at the same time and many other churches and get them equally engaged with their local communities.
I love it. John, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and on top of that, just to see a church go from a pile of sticks to an actual building is really exciting for the church body to drive through the parking lot and to see that. And, it's an amazing mission to get your church rallied behind this mission. And, we'll offer it up. We'll have the house built and available for people to walk through it for, 2 weeks at a time. And by the end of it, when we ship that house down south, there's probably 100, 200 Bible verses, memory verses, just meaningful, passion-filled blessings on every wall of that home.
Written all over it. It's just amazing.
Yep, you got it.
So give us a brief outline of, okay, the wood's delivered, the plans are there. 50, 60 men, however many come out, you build the house, then you take it down, then you put it on a trailer, then you take it to Rio Grande and you rebuild it. Just briefly walk us through that process, what it looks like on the parking lot, then what it looks like in the Rio Grande.
So, the easiest way to explain it is like John did, is pile of sticks and then you assemble it. The neat part is that when you build a house like this in a very modular fashion, it's unique in the way you have to build it, but at the same time, very portable. like you did a perfect outline of it. Is essentially we start pre-cut day, then we do an assembly and build day, and then we do a day that's for disassembly and palletizing. It usually takes about 1 day to ship it down, and then we arrive there. The first day we get there, we actually build the foundation and set it level. And then right from that, essentially for the next 4 to 5 days, we'll go walls, roof, and then wrap siding, windows, and basically indoors. So the idea is when we leave that it's basically fully dried in, and that allows the family to see right in front of them. And in fact, usually typically in front of their existing trailer or very surprisingly unlivable space. They get to see a house go up within 5 days. It's amazing.
Yeah. John, expand on that. What's it like, okay, John, to build a house that you know is for someone? Then you have your cut day, your build day, your pallet, you ship it. All of a sudden, now you're erecting this house and something Keith just said in front of the family who's going to live there. Just talk about what kind of feeling that is.
Well, let me just start. Let me start in the parking lot build first. To see guys basically fringe, I don't want to say fringe, but guys that are not involved or in a ministry that, hey, they're like, hey, this is something I can do. I know, I know how to handle a power tool. I know how to handle an impact driver. That opens up the ministry and the opportunity to meet these men and to get them involved and to meet men that Keith and I might not otherwise meet, right? And so that, we've seen this ministry grow from, maybe 40 unique volunteers to over 100 unique volunteers, on a house build. And that in itself has been remarkable. But to go down there and to work with the homeowner that will be living there, I mean, in most cases, the husband and maybe even some of the kids and the relatives of that family will help us and participate in the build. And it's just an amazing experience to get to know them better. We'll break bread together. We'll share every meal, lunch and dinner. And the family is so gracious and so, welcoming to all of us. And it's just it's just an extension of God's family, in McAllen, Texas. And so we're just, we're building a house, but on the background, we're building relationships and just cutting up and having fun.
I love it. And I love what y'all just said is you mentioned this ministry and you used the word fringe and you wanted to back away from that. But I don't think we have to, right? Because I think there are a lot of dudes out there that as they start their spiritual journey, they start their walk, they're trying to figure out, how do I jump in? Okay. A lot like we talked about just this past weekend, Moses. Essentially God calls Moses to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt. Moses' essential response is, I'm not qualified. And God said, great, you're hired. Right. And I mean, that's kind of what the beauty of this ministry is, that wherever a guy is in the process, man, if you're just willing to show up, God's going to do something special. And either of y'all want to expound on that thought anymore?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean,
Oh, heck yeah. Let's go.
Let's go. So the last house build we did, number one, so when we started this, we're like, let's take it slow. We'll do Friday evening and Saturday morning. It was May and it was stinking hot. And it was, it was miserable. But it took us 4 weeks, 8 days to build one house. And then at some point, we're all like, man, we're getting too old for this. Let's just do it in one day. And so we kind of had to process through that. But the last build that Keith and I did, I don't think Keith and I, either one of us picked up a power tool, right? I mean, we were involved in so many, hey, you guys go over there, you guys go over there, just kind of orchestrating the event and getting guys engaged. And it was just so much fun to see the kids, going nuts. Like we did have to remove a lot of extra screws from these walls and floors because the kids went a little haywire. But
it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. No, some of those suckers are permanent. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question, John Mark. I'm so sorry.
No, it was great. It was great. No, Keith, you want to add something to that about
Yeah.
just a guy that, man, could just show up and be involved in God's work?
Yeah, the neat thing that I've found as a blessing in this is that many of the folks for the first service, especially the men serving at Cottonwood, came to that for their first service because I'd meet them and say, hey, I just joined, I just got here. Jeff Dunkel, that was his first opportunity. He's been serving ever since 2021, and just all in. And everyone that jumps in, they just love it. And so it's neat to meet new people. And like what you said, John Mark, is it allows them to jump in and get plugged in somewhere where maybe they're a little bit comfortable, and then hopefully see them just blossom within the church and serving in other opportunities as well. So it's just a neat way to see how people engage. Like myself, several folks have escaped California. I say that on purpose, escaped California. Many of them I met there at the event. And so I find that a community where we'll start learning how to speak Texan in that regard. So.
Love it. But it is such an amazing, amazing thing to think about, because we always invite people to go on mission trips. But if you think about the guy that is just taking that first step, the idea of going overseas and sharing the gospel, probably not going to be his first step, right? A guy that, you're going to say, hey, go do this, go do that. No. But you ask a guy, hey, grab a drill. All right, we're going to build
Impact
a
driver.
house.
Impact driver.
Impact driver. Impact driver.
There's a story about
something
Justin in that one.
what's it?
There's a story about that with Justin.
Okay.
You can
All right.
imagine there's plenty of stories about Justin in the home builds, but that was just like one of the
Yes.
initial ones, day one.
Yeah. I remember when he first came to me with the idea of building a home. I think it was, around the COVID season. I said, well, yeah, let's do that. And so, all right, if someone else, Keith, you guys and John, y'all have already exported to a number of other churches. You've got more coming online. But if someone wanted to reach out and, number one, maybe connect with our next home build at Cottonwood Creek, or someone else in a missions department at another church wants to reach out, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, so there's a few things we're going to start doing in August. We're going to do some info sessions to get them plugged in. And we're going to particularly reach out to some of the folks that had been in the build before, because they actually, by building one house, they become foremans in the next one, just as natural progression and promotion. And so we'll start Sunday, August 17th and 31st. We'll do the first info sessions, and then we'll start rolling out kind of the details after that. Dennis Hale, who's another gentleman that I met through the Buckner build, he's going to help facilitate a lot of that. So very, very soon in August, we'll start rolling a lot of communication out, and then preloading some of the leaders, because we found, like John had mentioned, folks that had served and had an opportunity to build, they were super excited about coming back and helping lead a small team. And that helps spread the work out in the day. When you have all of a sudden 70 people building houses and wood is flying everywhere, and it's amazing to have some really good core excited leaders.
I love it. And part of this is, so if someone's watching, you're like, okay, this is great. Who's paying for the wood? That's what Cottonwood Creek does. The people of Cottonwood Creek give. The people who build just build, but the people give to missions. We go out, we buy everything, we put it together. Now, loads of folks, just like John and Keith, donate a bunch of their time to make it happen. But if you're looking for an on-ramp for missions at Cottonwood Creek, if you're looking for an on-ramp for your church to get involved in missions where you want to connect dudes, there's nothing better than building a home. So final thoughts for either one of you.
I just add one thing to what you just said, is that the powerful nature of building a home for a family is that Buckner's focus is on healthy living. The home building part is their healthy living and basically keeping a nuclear family together. And so by the efforts of the volunteers and Cottonwood putting up the money for basically building the entire house, from parking lot to Rio Grande to roof shingles and siding and insulation and windows and doors and all of that, accelerates their time to a healthy home by 15 to 16 years. That is just in that just small window of time from start to finish. And I can't think of a more impactful way to help a family build their own little family, but also community around them. For folks, if they can get down to Rio Grande, you'll see a a Buckner home, and then a few, a mile or less away, another one and another one. And it brings the community together, and you see people actually get excited and engage Buckner from a community perspective, but also it allows them to get excited about trying to take care of their own space. You would be amazed at what the folks will live in down there. And something that we would think of as a tool shed, people, families live in, and trailers that have basically no structure left. So it's just super exciting, like John said, to be there with the family, see them go from something that we would barely put our tools in to something that a family would live in. And this year we actually get to build a 4-bedroom, 2-bath for a family, mother, father, and 5 kids. And so that's super exciting. And that would, I guess the way I end it is that just imagine the impact you can have on a family and just how quick you can accelerate it and provide them a healthy environment. I guess the way I look at this too is this 1 John 3:18, let us not love with words or speech, but with action. So I can't think of a better way to put, action into work than building something.
I love that. Well, guys, man, we sure appreciate it. And so for someone looking in, you can text the word missions to 77978 just to get connected. Incredible ministry, incredible opportunity to change someone's life in just a matter of days and engage men in your church and mission. So John and Keith, thanks so much for your leadership in this area and what you've done so far and prepping and preparing and really making the process easy. We've mentioned Buckner a couple of times. Cottonwood Creek does not choose the family that we build the house for. Buckner does. They're down there every day of every week, and they hand select, hand vet, and the people that you're building the house for has been through a process by Buckner that has been this. In other words, they're well deserving. And they're grateful recipients. So that's taken off of you. You don't have to choose the family. Buckner does a great job of that. All you have to do is provide the money and the sweat equity and see God move. God bless.